Hi everybody, the Sports Guppy with you on a late Monday evening. I'm not going to talk about sports, at least not very much in this video. I may touch on it at the end, but I got to talk about my day today. If you'd seen my note from last night, I put my plays out actually Sunday evening because I had the opportunity to take a trip of a lifetime to go see the total solar eclipse that came across the country. I had made this decision months ago that I wanted to go see it in totality. Initially, I wasn't going to go because I figured where I live, it was going to be about 96% total anyway. But I had people tell me that the difference between 96% and 100% is like night and day. And I didn't believe them. Boy, were they right. Let me tell you, it was unbelievable. So I figured if I was going to go, I wanted to go to the best place possible. Well, as it turns out, southern Kentucky was kind of ground zero for the solar eclipse, in particular near a town called Hopkinsville in southwest Kentucky, where on this Monday, a town of 30,000 people had 750,000 visitors. Now, I ended up not going there because I thought that was too crowded. I found what I thought might have been an even better place. I looked at a real up-close Google map, and I drew a line through the center of the totality until I found something that was a little closer to where I live. I ended up, this was truly in the middle of nowhere. The closest town to me was a town called Russellville, Kentucky, which is about 15 miles or so from the Tennessee border. I went about 10 miles south of town. Specifically, I went to the intersections of highways 431 and 664. I figured there was not going to be anything out there. I was right. There wasn't much out there. But right at the intersection of those two roads was a small business that sells, not barns, but kind of storage sheds. There were about 3 of them there to look at, but nobody was there. So my wife and I parked in their parking lot about an hour, got there about an hour and a half or so before the eclipse was total. Actually, just as it was kind of beginning in its infancy, had a little picnic lunch, and we watched this thing. Very few people even drove by, but right about 10 minutes before totality, another couple of guys came in a pickup truck and ended up joining us to watch. So where all these millions of people were along the line of totality, where I was located, there were just 4 of us. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Now, initially, I wasn't going to go. Because I figured where I actually live, we were going to get about a 95% eclipse. I figured, 95% ought to be enough. I had people tell me that the difference between a 95% eclipse and a 100% eclipse is like night and day. They were right. It was, I don't even really know how to describe it. My wife described it leading up to totality as the feeling, it wasn't really getting darker. But it was kind of getting shadier. It was kind of like wearing sunglasses. You weren't squinting. You didn't have your glasses on. If you weren't, and of course, you had glasses on if you were looking directly at the sun. You had to have the solar glasses, which we were doing for most of this. But as it got to 95, 96, 97% totality, it was like looking outside and not having to squint with the sun out. It's kind of hard to describe. It wasn't like going to dusk or dawn because, of course, dusk or dawn, the sun is on either the east or the west part of the sky, and with this eclipse, it was right up in the middle. But it kind of had that feeling to it. Anyway, once we got to 99% totality, it was almost like Mother Nature just flipped off a switch. It went from 99 to 100, and it went almost instantly dark. It felt like 10:30 at night. The crickets came out and chirped. We heard frogs. But the funniest thing was there was no car anywhere, not a sound until the crickets started for about 30 to 45 seconds. It was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever seen. When we got to 100% totality, I was able to take the glasses off and look directly at the sun because all that came out was that outer corona. It made a complete, circle with the moon covering it. I'm sure most of you have seen pictures or videos, and it looks just like what those look like. I mean, it was the darndest thing. It lasted about 2.5 minutes, and then as soon as the sun began to reemerge, it was like a light was switched back on, and you had to immediately put the glasses back on, and that was it. I mean, that was the experience. The only, I guess, semi-negative part about it, and I still think it was worth it, was the drive home. I didn't get home too long ago. I am recording this at about 5 after 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Got home about an hour ago, a little less than an hour ago. We left our spot at about 2:30 Eastern Time. It took us 7.5 hours to go 186 miles. I have never seen traffic like that in my life, and I hope I never see it again. But it was worth it. It was worth every penny of it. Let me tell you something. There's another solar eclipse coming in 2024. Rather than going from Oregon to South Carolina like this one did, it's going to go from the desert southwest, northeast into New England. Once again, it's going to come pretty close to my area. I don't think it's going to touch Kentucky, but central Indiana is going to be right in the middle of it. So my drive will actually be a little shorter in 7 years. I am absolutely going to go. If you have never seen a true total eclipse and you have a chance to see the one in 2024, you ought to go. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to change your life because it doesn't, but it was just a sensation, a feeling that I've never experienced before. And it's really kind of hard. I can't really put it into words, but it was absolutely worth it. So anyway, there's that. All right, so what's going on in the world of sports? Well, as I record this, it looks like one of my two round robins is gone, as the Dodgers under and the Oakland A's already have lost. It looks like the Giants may be losing as well. My other one is still alive. I've got two winners, and Texas is winning and Milwaukee is tied. We'll see how that goes overnight. I'm exhausted, so I'm not waiting up to see it. But we'll have the results, as always, during the day tomorrow. We'll let you know I did listen or watch the latest whale video, all 27 minutes of it, as a matter of fact, right before I taped this. I mean, there's just no words. The patterns fell apart. Well, here's my question. If the patterns fell apart, why did I go 14-6 while he went 1-11? Patterns didn't fall apart on me. It's not patterns. It's picks. It's all about picking the games correctly. Call it luck, call it skill, call it whatever you want. But this pattern notion is just crapola, in my opinion. So there you go on that. We'll continue to monitor things. I'll have another round of picks for you tomorrow, but I'm going to retire for the evening because I am tired. So this is the Sports Guppy wishing you and yours a pleasant good evening.